Toastmaster Vishesh.
To help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow.
Toastmaster Aman.
Actually, I can't see.
Sorry. Can you see it now?
No.
Okay, now.
Yeah. To serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so.
Okay. Toastmaster I think he's in there. Toastmaster Shaurya. I can't see any more Toastmasters. So if I haven't given you chance, then you can go ahead, please. Anyone? Okay, so Toastmaster Gurpreet, you only read the next point.
To treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy.
Toastmaster Komal.
To bring guests to the club meeting so that they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers.
Toastmaster Vishesh.
To adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmaster educational and recognition programs.
Toastmaster Mridula.
To act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities.
Thank you. We are done with it. Moving on to the main meeting and the main theme. So whenever I face a problem, I have a very strange defense mechanism. Tell me in the chat box if I'm the only person or you can also relate. But what I do at the face of a crisis is I go to sleep. If I am unable to understand what is happening around me and if everything seems like a mess, I just find myself a place and doze off, expecting that when I wake up, either things will turn out to be good automatically, or maybe I'll just find a new perspective when I wake up. And miraculously, every time I wake up, either the problem is solved or I have a sudden strength and a valor to face the situation. Now, how frivolous that might sound, what I actually am trying to say is it is always okay to take a step back at the face of an adversity, but it is not okay to not fight at all, to not face the situation at hand. And with that note, I want to invite someone whom I have always seen facing challenges, challenging the challenges and fighting the odds, and yet somehow managing to keep on a smiling face. Please put your hands together for the president of Kolkata Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Mridula Sengupta, ladies and gentlemen.
Can we please keep the applause going for our extremely energetic and enthusiastic Sergeant Arms for the day, Toastmaster Oishika. All right, just give me a moment, guys. I hope I'm audible, right? Yeah, okay. So welcome, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests to the 661st meeting of Kolkata Toastmasters Club. So as we gather here today, and we have already completed one full month of 2021, I would like to know from all of you whether you have faced any challenges in your personal life, at your professional front, and whether you had the energy within you to keep moving forward. Because, as we know, that the comeback is more powerful than the setback. And 2020 has taught each and every one of us that no matter how low and how deep the setback is, due to various situations or due to various mistakes which you might have committed, 2021 will always help you keep that ray of hope alive and be confident so that you can be resilient in tough times and move on to 2021 with a lot of energy, a lot of hope that yes, 2021 will be the comeback year after a short and deep, or maybe not so good 2020. So I would like to know from all of you in the chat box, or if you can raise your hand or unmute yourself, how many of you agree that 2021 is a year of transformation and a year of opportunities for all of you? I can see Toastmaster Vishesh raising both of his hands, as well as Toastmaster Oishika. Yes, thank you. Thank you, future Toastmaster Shuryadeep, and thank you, the others, for joining in, and Aman as well, Toastmaster Bushra. So all of us, I believe, have this belief that yes, 2021 will be a great year. And today we have someone with us who will tell you more about the power of a comeback. But before that, I would like to welcome all the guests who have joined in, and I would like to know about your introduction from you. So the guests, if you would like to unmute yourself, you can raise your hand or unmute yourself. I see Meghna unmuting yourself. Meghna, could you please share
Hello
your...
everyone, my name is Meghna. I am new here. I am a graduate student. I am very weak in English speaking. I want to improve it, and right now I am preparing for some competitive exams. I hope I can crack it.
All right, thank you so much for joining, Meghna.
Thank you.
Thank you. What
Welcome.
about the others? I can see Toastmaster, future Toastmaster Abhijit, who has switched on his video. Would you like to unmute yourself? Please share your present engagement, as in if you are a working professional or a student, and from ready to get to know about Toastmasters from Kolkata Toastmasters Club.
Thank you, Mridula, for introducing me. Currently, I am a member of Jaipur Toastmasters Club. Basically, I belong from Bengal. Just for my work, I am here in Jaipur. I'm working as a geoscientist in Geological Survey of India. And today, probably I'm a speaker number 2 or 3 or 1. I don't know. I'm a speaker today. And Sodo Roy first gave me the contact of Kolkata Toastmaster Club. Thank you. Thanks to him for giving me the opportunity. Over to you.
Thank you, and we're really looking forward to your speech, Toastmaster Abhijit. What about the others? Charu Bhatia, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, can you see me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so hi, everybody. I'm Charu Bhatia, and I'm basically a designer from NIFT, and I've also done an MBA from SP Jain. So, like in 2021, I'm really looking to make changes for the better in my life, starting from everything from, fitness to learning public speaking and everything. So me being here in this meeting is just a small initiative on that part to actually learn more from you, all of you guys, and, see how this goes, hoping for the best.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Thank you, Charu. Can we have a round of applause for Charu, please? And we do have somebody who is equally, as talented, multifaceted as you are, who is a designer as well, and who is an aspiring, and who is also very much into, fitness, who is a fitness enthusiast. And we will be talking more about her in the later part of the meeting. Udisha, I hope you are here. Apart from that, I see Dr. Shuryadeep, who has switched on his video. Would you like to unmute yourself and share your introduction?
Very good evening to everyone. Thank you so much, Mridula, for introducing me. My name is Dr. Surideep Mazumdar. I'm a recently graduated dentist. I used to stay in Bangalore, came back to Kolkata. I was scrolling down YouTube when I saw the World Championship of Public Speaking winner speech by Dhananjay Hetirachi, and somewhere, visualization and dreams to see myself there in that platform. Now that I'm back in the city of joy, it's my dream to be a part of Toastmasters Club, and I'm really looking forward to the meeting today. Thank you so much for having me. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Shuryadeep. I hope you see something in this meeting, and KTM sees something in you. So thank you for joining us. I see Toastmaster Bushra. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. I am a student at IIT Kharagpur and I am a member of Young Professional Toastmasters Club. I joined last month and I'm really looking forward to this meeting because I know I am new to the club and I want to learn from all the clubs that are presently existing so that I can also incorporate all the ideas and the way you all speak in my own club as well. So looking forward to the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Bushra, for joining us. And I hope and I want to share this with all of you that Toastmasters is a fraternity which is spread across so many countries. And it has more than 380,000 members as we speak, and it is increasing every single moment. So without any further ado, I would like to request the members of the house and in the interest of time, all the guests who I had missed out, I would request you to kindly share your introduction on the chat box so that we get to know you better and our Vice President membership can connect to you after this meeting. So yes, to the members of the house, the minutes of the 660th meeting was shared. Could you kindly show me a thumbs up if you pass the minutes of if no further changes are to be made? Thank you, Komal. Thank you, Wishes. Thank you, Gurpreet. Okay, so we can move on. Thanks, Oishika. Now, the theme of the day is very interesting from all the introductions you have heard from all of us. That is coming back stronger. And to tell you more about this meeting and to take this meeting forward, we have somebody who is an extremely enthusiastic member of this community. He is also coming back stronger and he has taken this pledge to come back stronger in his Toastmasters journey after a brief hiatus. And we're very excited to welcome him back. He's a BCom graduate from St. Xavier's College and he loves football, hockey, and comics. One thing he has learned from being involved in sports is that we neither win nor do we lose. We only learn. And this mentality keeps him energized throughout the day. So please help me welcome with a huge round of applause the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra. Toastmaster Vishesh, over to you.
Thank you so much. And keep the applause going for our President, Madam President, Toastmaster Mridula Sengupta. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a small request from each and every one of you. While you're applauding someone, can you just unmute and applaud? Because the sound of applause, the good it does to our confidence, it is brilliant. When you hear applauding, you get even more confident. And this is the essence of Toastmasters. Even if you do good, you do bad, people applaud. People encourage you to come back to the stage and to keep doing better. So the next time you get an opportunity to applaud, please unmute and applaud. Because we are not physically present in the meeting. At least we can be audibly present. All right? So can I have a thumbs up from everyone if you're about to applaud? Brilliant. Moving on. So, ladies and gentlemen, all of us, we have our defeats. We have down moments. We have bad moments when we are down in the trenches. We have hit rock bottom. And what is important in those moments? Is it the defeat? Is it a situation? No. What we learn from that moment is what is important. What we take away from the moment is what is important. If, for example, I play hockey in the state league, if my team loses a match, what do? We don't ponder on why did we lose, ऐसा कैसे हार गए, what happened out here. No, we analyze the game, we analyze where we went wrong, and we have to make sure that it doesn't happen again. We have to make sure that we come back stronger. So the next time you lose or you have a defeat, learn from your defeat to come back stronger. And the reason I've chosen this theme, come back stronger, is that a lot of us, we are not having a very good period of time right now, right? So I wanted to bring out stories from, from famous people and even from our Toastmasters fraternity to inspire people who are down, that there is hope, there is light. If you keep at it, if you are determined, and if you keep going, you will come back stronger, you will do better, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. So keep on going. Ladies and gentlemen, a Toastmasters meeting has a conventional format which has three sections. You know, for a comeback, people have to be determined. They have to prepare themselves, they have to plan, they have to get mentored. Similarly, in a prepared speech section, which is the first section of every Toastmasters meeting, the prepared speaker, he writes down his speech, he gets it mentored, he puts in effort and hard work and comes to deliver a speech which is about 5 to 7 minutes in front of each and every one of us. Moving on, we have another section called the table topic section. You know, a lot of times when we have planned something, we're going ahead and we are en route to come back. But all of a sudden, some problem comes up and we have to face that problem on spot and we have to think on our feet. Similarly, that is the impromptu session, which is the table topic session, where speakers will be called upon the podium and will be given impromptu topics to speak upon. And they have to speak on those topics for about 1 to 2 minutes. The best part about this is guests are also allowed to participate in this section. And last is the heart of each and every Toastmasters meeting, which is the general evaluation section. Ladies and gentlemen, when we face defeat, we evaluate why did we lose, what did go wrong, and how can I make this better. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a general evaluation section where we have a general evaluator who evaluates the meeting from the top to the bottom with the help of his role players. And today we have a very special general evaluator because this person, his observational skills are on another level, and the kind of detailed evaluations he gives, it helps everyone grow a lot. When I asked the general evaluator that, can you tell me a comeback story from your personal life? He said, no, I won't boast about myself. Then I say, okay, at least tell me some comeback story which you are inspired from. And he named someone who's in the heart of every cricket fan in Kolkata, Saurav Ganguly, the king of comeback. We have seen him consistently being dropped out of the team, coming back and scoring centuries, captaining the team to great heights. Well, this is his comeback inspiration. So please welcome with a huge round of applause the general evaluator for the day, Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster Churiwal. Please give a huge round of applause.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishesh, for the introduction. I hope I am neither invisible nor inaudible. And if I am neither, I want someone to just unmute themselves and say that you are neither. I want to hear it.
Neither.
Fantastic. Now it feels like a Friday evening at the Calcutta Chamber of Commerce instead of sitting at my own home. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the most important session of a Toastmasters meeting, which, as already mentioned by the TMOD, is probably referred as the heart of the meeting. And it can also be known as the backbone of the meeting as well. It only depends upon your perspective, because it is indeed the most important session where we do all our introspection, where we get feedbacks, where we try to understand exactly how to apply them and come back stronger. And this is the session where it all happens. And today, as a general evaluator, it's my task to spearhead this particular session, and it's my task to facilitate constructive criticism for everyone, for every role player and every speaker who participates in a particular meeting. And as the description indicates, it indeed is a humongous task, and hence it's impossible to accomplish alone. And so I have a team who would readily assist me in different key areas throughout this evening, throughout the proceedings of this particular meeting. And so, starting now, I would like to request each and every team member to please describe their roles one by one. And I would like to start with the grammarian, which today is being essayed by Toastmaster Oshika Ghosh Mazumdar.
Hello, everyone. I'm the grammarian for the evening, and I will do what I'm infamously famous of doing. I'll share a presentation. Okay, so as the grammarian, I will be keeping a tab on the good uses of grammar and the not so good uses of grammar. Also, I'll introduce you to the word of the day, which is genesis. It is a noun, and though it might sound like we are in a biology class right now, but in fact, it actually means the origin or coming into being of something. It can be used in place of words like origin, start, beginning, root, birth, or onset. A use of it in a sentence would be the project had its genesis 2 years ago, or we cannot yet satisfactorily explain the genesis of the universe. I will encourage you all use the word of the day in your speeches. You can also use it while you're typing or commenting on the chat box. And with that, I end my brief and I'll present my report when called upon to do so. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you for that wonderful description of your role. The role of the grammarian had its genesis at the very beginning of Toastmasters, and yet the different unique ways which I see nowadays by the different Toastmasters in playing this role never ceases to amaze me. So the next role which I have in my team is known as the R counter, which today is being taken up by Toastmaster Sunil Kriplani. Can we have you on board, sir?
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Our goal here is to become very effective in public speaking, and one of the ways we do this by removing distractions from our speaking. As an R counter, my role is to listen carefully and keep track of the verbal distractions or speaking crutches that the speaker may use to fill in the space. The crutch words are you know, basically, actually, definitely, etc. And the filler words are er, so, etc. These crutch words and filler words generally disrupt the flow of the speech and make the speech less interesting. I will keep a track of the repeating words also, like so, the. Finally, I'll also make a note of any distracting pauses that may be used by the speaker. For each person, I'll make note of these verbal distractions and then give a report when called upon to do so. All the best to all the speakers. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you for devoting your precious time in spite of being a member of another club. And thank you for coming into this meeting and taking our vacant role. Next up, we have someone whom we know as the timer, which today is being played by Toastmaster Aman Shaw.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Today, I'm the timer of the day. And yes, timing is very important, be it coming back or be it delivering speeches. So, I will be today helping the speakers finish their speeches on time. I will be displaying the green card at the minimum time, yellow card at the mean time, and the red card at the maximum time. Time limit for the prepared speeches is 5 to 7 minutes. For general evaluation is 2 to 3 minutes, and for table topics is 1 to 2 minutes. We have a grace period of 30 seconds both on the upper limit and the lower limit except for the table topics. We have a special speech by Toastmaster Rahul today, and time limit for it is around 18 to 22 minutes. Thank you, and back to you. General evaluation.
Thank you for the decision of this role. And next up is the role of the VAR counter, which today is being essayed by Toastmaster Dikshak Bose.
Well, from the very genesis of humanity, which human does not like to get validated and appreciated? We all do, right? A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dikshak Bose, and I'm glad to be the wow counter for this evening's meeting, wherein my job will be to locate and acknowledge the particular three top precious moments in the course of this Toastmasters meeting, which will be much of amusement and worthy of tons of applause, all dedicated to motivate the Toastmasters for the upcoming endeavors. And at the end of the meeting, I shall present my report when called upon to do so. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Churiwal.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dikshak, for again being a member of another club and yet taking out time to be here present in this Friday evening. And last but not the least, we have the Parliamentarian, which again is being taken up by a member of another club, Toastmaster Brinda Rathi.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Hello everyone, I'm Brinda Rathi and today I'm parliamentarian for this meeting. And as parliamentarian, my job is to ensure that all the parliamentary norms are being followed, adhering to the following protocols. Firstly, please avoid switching on or off camera whenever speaker is on stage. Secondly, please avoid any form of prompting whenever speaker is on stage. Thirdly, avoid any form of personal engagement during the meeting. Fourthly, since we are on virtual podium, it is not possible to motivate our to motivate our speakers. So I would request everybody to motivate our speakers through either virtual clapping emoticons or by unmuting themselves. And lastly, avoid any form of unparliamentary or derogatory use of sex, religion, politics by any of the speakers, role players, or table topics. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you to Toastmaster Brinda in general and to each and every role player of my team in particular for describing their roles so well. That's all from me until now, and I will be back at a later part of this meeting when I am called upon to do so by the TMOD. Until then, let's have a good meeting full of learnings. And now, with a round of applause, let's hand over the stage back to the TMOD, Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra. Let's all unmute ourselves and have a round of applause.
And let's keep the applause going for our wonderful general evaluator, Toastmaster Sir, distinguished Toastmaster Sir. Well, you know, comebacks are something which are very natural to me. For the reason being that I am a Manchester United fan and we breed on comeback. People who watch football, they'll understand this reference of mine. So when I was in my first year in college, I joined the college hockey team, and my college hockey team plays the first division in state league, which is the highest part of the state league. And well, when I joined the first training, I felt like a monkey with a stick, just running around here, there, and everywhere. I did not really understand how to play the game at that level. And I was consistently either dropped out of the team or kept on the bench, not getting any minutes to play. I was very demotivated because I wanted to play. I wanted to have my name in the first 11. But I did not give up. I went to each and every training despite being from the non-sports quota category. It wasn't compulsory for me, but I did. I went on and on and on. And in my second year of college, I got into the first 11 of the team. And in my final year, I was announced as the vice captain of the team. And I say this very proudly. This was a great comeback for me. And what was the elements of the comeback? I worked my way into the team. It was a gradual process. I did not give up hope. I gave in my best and I left the rest. So now, before calling or introducing our first speaker, I would like the evaluator to tell us the speech objective. Can we have Toastmaster Amrita Vij, who's the evaluator?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and our dear guest. So the speaker is delivering level 1 project 2 under presentation mastery pathways. The purpose of the project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback and apply the feedback to a second speech. The purpose of the speech is for the member to demonstrate that he or she has applied the feedback received from his or her speech. So the speech timer, please note the timing is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to the speaker.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Amrita. Can we have a loud round of applause for her? So, the next speaker, he is also a sports enthusiast. He is a fitness freak. I'm working on it. And he is, as we heard, a scientist who works with the Indian government, calling upon to the podium to present a speech from level 1, project 2, the second speech from the pathway presentation mastery. You're strong, you are brave. You're strong, you are brave. By Toastmaster Abhijit Nath. Toastmaster Abhijit Nath, the stage is all yours.
After a deep sleep, when I slowly opened up my eyes, I saw a beautiful girl with brown eyes wearing a deep green skirt, holding my left hand and counting my pulses. With a beautiful smile on her face, she said, "You're strong, you are brave." Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests, I am very close to my mother. In my childhood, one day my mom felt sick and she was admitted to a hospital. Later, a doctor diagnosed her and suggested a surgery. My mom is as brave as a lioness. She survived the surgery. On the next day, I went to the hospital to see my mother. Entering into the hospital, a strange smell was making me unpleasant. With a slight headache, I went to my mom, saw her lying down on a bed. Her face was completely dry and voice was broken. I had never seen my mom in such a painful situation before. Groaning in pain, she asked me, "How are you doing, my son?" I sighed wearily and replied, I'm doing fine. How?" I couldn't able to finish the sentence because I fainted. When I regained my consciousness, I saw myself lying down on a bed just next to my mom. And there I developed an extreme fear towards the hospital. Please allow me to digress. On a summer day, I was playing cricket. I was batting, and meanwhile, a strong fast bowler came to bowl. With a huge run up, he delivered his ball as fast as he could. I tried to hit the ball out of the park, but instead, the ball hitting the bat, it hit straight to my nose. Ouch! My nose broke down and started bleeding profusely. All the players came into the middle to stop my bleeding. Out of the blue, the thin guy from the group saying that "You're strong, you are brave," ignoring his sentiment completely. One of the tall guys said, "Let's take him to a hospital." Hearing the word hospital, I jumped up in fear, ran straight to my home. Panting, I somehow managed to escape the hospital, but it took 10 long days to heal the pain. The fear from where man flees comes back to his life with its bitter version. I realized it when I was diagnosed with a chronic disease. Clinically, it's called anal fistula, and in layman term, it's a channel formed between your end of your bowel and the skin near your anus. My life stopped, and enormous pain became my all-time companion. I literally felt that pain for 4 long years in every single second of my life. I couldn't able to sit, walk, sleep peacefully during this long time. People used to say surgery can be an option, but I was fearful to go to any hospital. During this long time, I only swallowed Ayurvedic medicine to cope up with my pain. But sooner, I realized it wasn't helping me in the way I thought it would. And in the back of my mind, I started to thinking that I would spend my rest of my life in this way. But one fine morning, my inner voice told me, Let's face the fear once before accept this defeat for the long time and maintain this agonizing pain for a lifetime. On that day, I went to a temple to make myself physically strong to fight the unthinkable. In my temple, in spite of any god, I worshipped dumbbells and barbells. As I started to work out, I started experiencing two pains simultaneously. One was unbearable, another was bitter but sweet. I endured both these pains silently, clenching my jaw. After 6 long months, I was brave enough to face my fear. I went to the hospital for the surgery. When I was taken to the operation theater, lying down on a stretcher, I was continuously affirming myself. You are strong, you are brave. And on the next second, I lost my consciousness. After 2 long hours, when I opened my eyes, I saw a beautiful tall girl with brown eyes wearing a dark green skirt, holding my left hand and counting my pulses. With a beautiful smile on her face, she said, "You are strong, you are brave." Tears welled up in my eyes. I felt no pain in my body, although there was a huge wound. The battle of 5 years had finally come to an end, and I conquered my fear. Ladies and gentlemen, are you in pain for a longer time? The fear of getting out of this pain causing you any sort of fear. Listen to me. You have to listen to your inner voice because you are brave, you are strong. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Can I have a huge round of applause for that amazing speech by Toastmaster Abhijit? Please unmute yourself and give him a huge round of applause. Hats off, sir, hats off for that amazing, inspiring speech. And we hope that you don't face that kind of pain again in your life. Now, we are moving on by calling the second evaluator to read out the speech objective for the second speaker. The second evaluator for the day is Toastmaster Rohit Reddy. Sir, can we please have the objectives, please?
Good evening, everyone. So the speaker today is delivering her level 3 project from the Pathways Dynamic Leadership. It's called Connect with Storytelling. And the purpose of this project is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or give a speech that is a story. Timer, please note the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. And I'm sure we're here to witness a great speech, and all the best to the speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rohit, for the objectives. So when I asked the next speaker that, can you tell me a comeback story from your life? She said that once she wasn't selected for a competition in her school. Then somehow she wriggled her way through and got into the team and placed second. She showed them that she was worth being on that team and made a comeback from not being on the team to having a podium finish, which was amazing and inspiring. So, calling upon the stage with the speech title, Am I Seeking Validation? Toastmaster Samriddhi. Toastmaster Samriddhi, Am I Seeking Validation? The stage is all yours.
I was someone who always asked validation. No matter where I went, what I did, or who I was with, I always wanted validation. I wanted someone to tell me that it is okay or everything is going to be okay. Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear guests. I would like to take all of you through my journey, which has been a roller coaster. But trust me, I love roller coasters. But before that, I would like to ask all of you today, do you seek validation? Do you look for validation? Please unmute yourself or write in the chat box if you do or not.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for participating. For the genesis of my story, I would like to begin from when I was a couple of 5 year old. I joined my kindergarten when in half term because I was not well. But when I joined school, everybody had formed groups and I was left alone. I felt I was someone who wasn't noticed in the school. I wanted to be in a group. I wanted to share my tiffin with people and wanted to be punished for talking. Years went by, trust me, very slowly. But sixth standard came. I was very happy because I knew the sections were getting changed and I would do anything to be a part of a group. I wanted to be a part of that cool group who everybody was in awe of. I started being someone I was not. I started grabbing a seat next to them for them to notice me. I started bringing fancy things to school for them to notice me. And within no time, I was a part of that cool group. When I joined that group, I realized that was not the kind of cool I wanted to become. There was a kind of a contest happened in my school where I went up on stage and got blank. I was embarrassed, but nobody from my cool group came and supported me. I was sad, but I was not surprised. At that time, I didn't know the true meaning of friendship, but I was definitely studying harder because I didn't want to get embarrassed in front of them. At least one good thing was happening in my life. Years went by, and I was finally done with my 8th standard. I was so happy because my parents decided me to kick me out of the house. You might be wondering, why is this girl happy about being kicked out of the house? I'm joking. They sent me to a boarding school. That was the best decision my parents ever took for me. And as after every dark night, a bright morning comes. That bright morning in my life came when I was sitting in my hostel room with my 4 best friends, sipping coffee and talking about life. I was sharing my deepest of secrets with them. They were standing beside me when I took some of the most important and some of the most stupid decisions of my life. They accepted me for who I was. I always used to be very conscious about myself as I speak very fast. But my friend Aditi told me it's not important for people to accept you, it's important for you to accept yourself. And from that day, I made a promise to myself to work on myself, to accept myself for who I am. And that worked on my favor. I started getting up on stage. I started participating in debates. And no matter how I performed, my friends supported me. And that boosted my confidence a lot. Then school got over and I was very sad as I thought the best phase of my life was coming to an end. But life moves on. I moved to Bangalore for my college and I made a promise to be out there. I made a promise to create millions of memories with everybody I love. I joined my organizing committee of my college, which was a huge deal for me. Remember, I wanted to be in a group. I'm so glad of all the good things that were happening at my college, and I'm so glad that I was a part of it. You can even say that my hostel life was a turning point of my life, and my college days were the best 3 years of my life. When I came back to my hometown for my semester break, there was a school reunion happening in my old school. After juggling my mind 1,000 times, I finally decided to go. I met my cool group over there. I was standing at the same place after 6 years, but I felt so different, so confident, and so good about myself. I remember a friend of mine coming and telling me, "You look so much happier now." And I said, "Yes, I am happy." Not that I was looking for a validation, I was happy because I was stopped looking for validations. It is so rightly said that if you surround yourself with the right kind of people, you start looking at life differently. I did that. Now, earlier I used to think that life is all about the big, huge things that are happening around us. I understood it really late that this life is all about the little things. It doesn't matter what positions you held or what kind of people you're associated with. It matters how many memories you have created, how many million mesmerizing memories you can create with everybody you love. So please don't miss the chance and feel free to hugely, stupidly be happy about the tiniest little things that is happening around you, because that is surreal. Because when I look back, all I can remember is the memories I've created with everybody I love. What do you say, Mr. Toastmaster of the day?
What an amazing speech. Please, everybody, unmute and give her a huge round of applause. Come on. Thank you, Toastmaster Samriddhi, for that great message to teach us not to seek validation and to be happy in our own skin and in who we are. So, thank you for the lovely message. Now, let's call upon the evaluator of the third speaker. The evaluator is Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh. Toastmaster Gurpreet, can you please have the speech objective? Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vishesh. Good evening to one and all. The speaker is delivering his Level 5 Project 2 from the Pathways Innovative Planning. And the purpose of the project is for the member to practice developing and presenting a longer speech. Timer, please note that the time limit is 18 to 22 minutes. I repeat, 18 to 22 minutes. All the best to the speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
So, the next speaker is very close to me. I have known this guy for about 10 years now, and I did not really ask him for a comeback story. I will tell you his comeback story. So this guy, he did not do as well as he wanted in his class 12. He wanted to get a few posts which he missed out on. He did not do well in his board exams, but this guy did not give up. He consistently went on and on. He never mind his failures. He kept going on now, and now he's completed one level of CFA. He has graduated in BCom from a good college, and he's even working to help out his family. I know this guy is a bit shocked looking at me right now. How is this guy giving me compliments? Because all he has heard from me for 10 years is either me roasting him or demeaning him. So take it, Rahul. This is one of those rare occasions. Smile and be happy. So please welcome with the speech title Exceeding Expectations from Level 5 Project 2 of Innovating Planning. Exceeding Expectations by Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari. The stage is all yours.
We all often tend to live a life where we are required to live up to someone's expectations. Expectations about career, expectations about relationships, expectations about spirituality, and many such things that we don't even realize. These expectations start mounting before we are even in this world and carries on until the time we are no longer here. Many of us over here must have been told to become Kabir Mehra from Dil Dhadakne Do. Take responsibility of their family businesses. That's what they've been told right from their beginning. Many of us over here could be Farhan Qureshi from Three Idiots, who was bulldozed into a life of joint entrance exams right from the first time he even sat on a pram. We all are coming from different walks of life. But if there is one thing that is common amongst all, that would be the expectations that we all are trying to meet. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Expectation is the motivator to get anything done. Expectation is the genesis of achieving anything. And 9 out of 10 times, one will meet those expectations. But today is not going to be about just meeting expectations. Today is not just about satisfying those people who expect something from you. Today is the day where I tell you to unleash your full potential, to give more than what people think you have, to make yourself someone no one thought you could be, to not just satisfy people by living up to their expectations, but by surprising them by your capabilities and accomplishments and achievements. Living a life where I exceed everyone's expectations was something I had promised myself when I passed out from a school. Sometimes I have nailed it, sometimes I have failed in it, but my effort has been constant. I make sure that I go all in. There are several situations where I wasn't as good in certain things, but I made sure to exceed everyone's expectations. And I'm going to present in front of you all a few such situations and a few such things that you might take away from my story. On 2nd May 2016, we were celebrating the life of laborers, people who constantly are there to help us in everything. And 2nd of May was that day when the intra club of our school actually congratulated them and thanked them for all the services they did for us. I was at one of the top positions of the intra club of my school, and that required me to give certain speeches. Now, when I talk about speeches, it was no less than fear for me. Speeches were those nightmares I never wanted to live. I did not even want to dream about giving speeches in front of so many people. But if the duty calls me to give speeches, I have to give it. So, like I said, on 2nd May 2016, I walked up to the podium. I had that wonderful speech written right in front of me. The entire middle and senior school, the staff, those workers who used to help us constantly were waiting for me to deliver that speech. All were ready to hear what I had to say. And I'm pretty sure that whatever there was in that speech, I read it out well. But I'm pretty sure that Toastmasters know just reading a speech is just not enough. And that guests understand that saying words of paper is not enough to connect, to create a bond with the listener of the speech. Similarly, on 24th August 2016, the same year, I had the intra club investiture and I got the post of the secretary. Now, as the secretary, at the day of investiture, I am I was again required to deliver a speech on what is the way ahead for the club and what are the projects that the club is planning to do. So there was this another speech that I had to deliver. Again, traumatized, fears, all those things that were keeping on coming on my mind. I walked up to the podium. The speech was right there in front of me. All those people anxiously waiting for me to tell what the plans of the club were. There were some around 40, 50 people who were sitting over there, and I was here on the podium. I read that speech well, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not very sure that I was able to make that connect. I'm not very sure that I was able to create an impact. And I'm certainly not very sure that all those people who were listening to my speeches, both the Labor Day one and the investiture one, do they actually remember what I said that day? I'm not very sure about that. The reason why I'm not very sure is because I know that I wasn't confident enough to speak in front of so many people. I wasn't confident enough to put forward whatever I had. And forget these speeches, this speech that I had to give in front of all those people, the speech I had to give in investiture, even those one-to-one conversations, maybe with friends, maybe with family, maybe with cousins, and maybe with strangers. Those one-to-one conversations, that interperson conversations, I wasn't even talking or dealing with it very confidently. And I could see it clearly, but there wasn't much that I did about it. As soon as I passed out from school, my father used to constantly tell me to go and attend Toastmasters, as there were certain people in my family who had joined it and were doing really well. I didn't listen to him for one whole year. And trust me, 3 years after that day, I regret it. Had I joined Toastmasters that one year earlier, I could have been much more better. So, one fine day, after 1 year of my dad constantly telling me that go join Toastmasters, what are you even doing in your life? I called my very close friend, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vishesh, and asked him that I want to join Toastmasters. So when and where should I come? So he told me that Rahul, 7 p.m. Calcutta Chamber of Commerce near Peter Katz. Don't go to Carpe Diem that is nearby, come to Calcutta Chamber of Commerce. So he told me 7 p.m. I reached by 7:30 p.m. Like always, I'm late everywhere. And when I walked up to the podium, walked up to Calcutta Chamber of Commerce, I saw Toastmasters, the icebreaker. I didn't know her then, but I saw that amazing vibe. I could feel that amazing vibe in Calcutta Chamber of Commerce that somewhat hooked me to Toastmasters. I saw those people giving some amazing speeches, amazing evaluation, some exciting table topics, and being so confident in front of so many people, in front of so many strangers. And I sat there and I said that I want to be like that person. I want to be that version of myself that is so much more confident. Today, I'm a Toastmaster for more than 2 years. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm way ahead where I went into CCC, Calcutta Chamber of Commerce. I had an expectation from what kind of person I want to be. And I have met that expectation few months back. But I know that just meeting my expectations or someone's expectation that they wanted me to have is not enough. You gotta do something different to create a sensation. You gotta do something more to create that name for yourself that no one thought you could create. I became a confident version of myself. I became a confident communicator. But that wasn't enough. I have a path forward and I have to exceed everyone's expectations that way. I know I have to be a world champion of public speaking. I know that I have to be one of the best table topic speakers one would have seen. I know I have to be a mighty good evaluator so that I improve other people. And clearly, the path ahead is there. And I'm pretty sure that one day I am going to do it. But this is just one aspect. Did you know, and I'm sure you guys know it, that I am a hearty eater. I am someone who loves food, especially North Indian. And I love food to such an extent that when I was told to evaluate which colleges I had to take admission for, the first thing that came to my mind is that if I go out of Kolkata, will I be able to have that good food? That was literally the first thing that was coming to my mind. So now you all can infer that what kind of a foodie I am. I am a hearty eater. But apart from this habit, I also had certain unhealthy habits as well. And I'm sure most of you must know that what those unhealthy habits were. And others are just assuming it, and you're right. But did you also know that I was into sports and almost every sport that one could play? And as you all know that when you're talking about sports, stamina and fitness is one of the key things that a sportsman has to look after. And unfortunately, my stamina and fitness wasn't up to the mark. My coach constantly used to tell me that Rahul, without fitness, you cannot improve your game. You cannot take your game to the next level. And I was very adamant and very much stuck to my fooding habits and those unhealthy habits. But when I passed school, I realized that my coach was right. And these unhealthy fooding habits, these other unnecessary habits that could have been avoided, should actually been avoided. And I have sacrificed so many important games, so many important opportunities because of such habits. Today, when I look back, it was the wrong thing to do. But the moment I realized this, I made sure that I do not repeat my mistake again. There was a time when I couldn't run 100 meters straight. And this thing, when it struck me that for a sportsman, this is a dilemma, I made sure that I'm going to change this about me. I began a journey of transformation and I made sure that I transformed for sure. I started gathering a lot of knowledge about diet and how to get slimmer and fitter. And I realized that, which is also a very unproven, which is also a very strange fact that when you're onto a board or when you're actually into transformation, 30% of the transformation depends on the exercise and the rest 70% depends on the fooding habits. Can you believe that? For a hearty eater who didn't think twice before eating 2 egg rolls before practice, I had to sacrifice food. But as I made my mind that one day I will become a better version of myself, I did that. I survived months after months without having those tasty kachori sabjis and the sweets that are there constantly in my house. I used to go out and have subs, salads, things that I never imagined myself having. I used to have broccolis and boiled vegetables every time I was at home. But I had to do this because I had seen a journey, a path ahead for me, which I had to achieve, a goal which I had to achieve. Not just that part, but I used to play day and night. I used to go to the gym. I used to run. I used to do everything that a sportsman should have done. I did it late, but I did it. And very proudly, I can say that I could run for 2 hours straight or 3 hours straight if I'm playing football. And That kind of a change was something that from a sportsman it is to be expected. But I didn't stop there. I didn't just stop for a better stamina. I made sure that I have to do something greater with this. I started running marathons. And today I can very proudly say that when I started running marathons, I was one of those people who had one of the best timings in Kolkata. I've completed kilometers after kilometers with one of the best timings and the best averages. I have exceeded my expectations and I know that I have to go forward. I also have a plan in mind that I have to give my Ironman and ultrathons, which are more advanced levels of marathons. And I'm sure that one day I am going to achieve that. I am going to exceed everyone's expectation and set the bar really high. But enough about me. Enough about Rahul's physical fitness and Rahul's public speaking. Let's talk about that one thing that I'm 100% sure each and every one of us likes and loves. Let's talk about that one thing that unites our nation as a whole, across divisions, across states. That is the love for our Indian cricket team. I'm very sure that the Indian cricket team has given us umpteen moments to cherish, to recall, to be proud, and to love our cricket team, such as the 1983 World Cup final, or maybe to the 2008 2001 Test match here at Eden Gardens, where Lakshman and Dravid played that wonderful innings, the 2011 T20 World Cup, the 2011 World Cup, the 2013 Champions Trophy, Sachin's 100 centuries, and what not. Have the Indian team given us even one moment not to feel proud of them? Mistakes happen, losses happen, it's a game. But I'm sure they've given us much more opportunities to feel proud of them. But very similar situation, they defied everyone's expectations very recently in this Border Gavaskar trophy. Critics said that if India lose the first pink ball test match, I can name the critic, Michael Vaughan, who was the former English captain, that if India lose the first pink ball test match, chances are they are whitewashed 4-0. India lost the first pink ball test match with a shameful innings from a team, 36 all out, not acceptable, which was one of the lowest scores for India. And after that, our captain had to leave. There were so many players who were injured, the key players, I must say. And let's not talk about the second or the third test. Let's come to the fourth test. And let me tell you one thing, that if there would have been one more player who was injured that day, our team would be on the field without any 12th man. Literally everyone is injured. All the bench players are playing now. There was no 12th man. There was no substitute. They were battled. They were bruised. They were criticized. But we all saw what they did. Let me tell you a stat. On the fourth day of the test match, total wicket taking by the top four bowlers from both the teams, Australia's team, was 1,003 wickets. But the top four bowlers of India had taken only 13 wickets. So they were battled, they were bruised, they were criticized, but they also had lack of experience. And we all know what they did. We all know what kind of a miracle, what kind of a situation they created out of an unwinnable match. We all were expecting for a draw, for them to survive that final day of test match and take the series home. But I guess Team India and of course Rishabh Pant had different plans. They had to win and create a name for themselves individually. They had to exceed everyone's expectation and put a full stop to their criticism. They had to zip everyone's mouth and tell that no Indian team can be criticized or no Indian team can be criticized or can be discounted. And they proved everyone wrong. That day, the Indian team showed what exceeding expectations can be. I use this example because this is one of the most fresh examples, and I'm sure one of the most evergreen examples one can ever think of. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure that all of you, most of you, love Harvey Specter, the very famous TV series character. Harvey Specter says that life is this, but he likes this. This simply means that life is even more exciting when you're up to things that are beyond everyone's imagination and expectation. Everyone wants to live a life that is beyond normal, but very few actually work that hard or are insane enough to achieve that beyond normal life. Learn to walk that extra mile further. from where you are expected to stop. And very soon, that element of doubt in people's mind will change into shocks and surprises. People say that you live once. Let me tell you that you only die once. You live every day. Make sure that you make the most out of this every day and live each day with a mission to exceed everyone's expectations. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, who has been exceeding everyone's expectations whenever he takes the podium. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari. Well, I am one of those proud people who has seen the transformational journey of Toastmaster Rahul. Because I was there in the cricket team with him when he threw away matches, when he wasn't physically that fit and wasn't able to play properly. And today I am still with him when he's running for 2 to 3 hours on the football pitch with me. So, Toastmaster Rahul, I am actually very proud of you. And this is my quota of 2021 compliments for you. Now only Gali. So, moving on, we have my favorite section of the day, the table topic section. And to take this section forward, we have a great table topic master. And when I asked her that tell me a comeback story about yourself, she said that once that in her lower classes, she hated the subject of physics. She couldn't do it at all and she couldn't understand anything. Toastmaster Rahul is laughing because in his class 10 pre-board, he got single digits in his physics exam, and I also barely passed. So we kind of connect with this person for her hatred towards physics. But we left physics, but she couldn't. She had physics till her graduation, but she went back, worked hard on the subject, started right from the basics, and went on to ace the subject. So please welcome the wonderful table topic master for today, Toastmaster Komal. Toastmaster Komal, the podium is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishesh. You really made me sound consistent and brave. Thank you for that introduction. A very warm evening to all the Toastmasters, guests, and people who've come back stronger. Welcome to the segment of Toastmasters where you get to compare your eloquent style with yourself. The first ever time I spoke on a table topic, I could not speak for more than 30 seconds. So I set a goal for myself that when the next time I go and speak, it'll be for at least a minute. I did achieve that goal, but I realized that I was completely off topic. So I again set a goal for my next table topic that I would not only speak for more than 1 minute, but also stay on the topic. And I tried to achieve that goal. So this segment lets you gauge your growth as to how you're improving in the field of public speaking. In today's segment, I will be rather judging how much of an active listener you have been. So I have taken topics from today's session itself. From the moment the sergeant at arms started the meeting, then they passed it to the president, the toastmaster of the day, the speakers, and I have formed topics out of very beautiful sayings or quotes or any such message that I could have gained. And you will have to be speaking on that topic for a period of 1 to 2 minutes. You'll get a grace of 30 seconds only on the upper side. Guests are most welcome to participate in this section. No prompting from the audience is encouraged. Please use the word of the day, which is Genesis, and I will be repeating the topic only once. There's another twist to it. As I said, that I will be taking topics from the speakers that we have had today. I would like you to guess the person from whom I have taken it from, and you'll get a chance to nominate a person who will come next on stage to speak on a table topic. So you have a chance to put somebody on the spot. Is everything clear? Can I get a thumbs up if everything is clear? Thank you, Dr. Suryadeep and Abhijit. So we'll begin with our table topics segment. Would anybody like to volunteer for the first topic? I can see Toastmaster Bushra's hand up. So Toastmaster Bushra, your topic for the day is the comeback is stronger than the setback. The comeback is stronger than the setback. Toastmaster Bushra.
This particular quote was taken from the first speaker, and to come back and to come stronger, which is something that I completely agree to. And I could very much relate to the first speaker when he was saying how he overcame his fear and then met the doctor, and he got the surgery done, even though it was time taking. And his entire fear span of 5 years was just overtaken in just 2 hours. So my learning from that speech was there are instances, there are so many moments, and especially I think the fear of public speaking, I think most of us have had. If you ask any second or third person, be it your friends or any just anonymous person, they'll say that yes, they have the fear of public speaking, but that fear is limited only to them. It's only they know that I have this fear. So I think I could relate this very much to his speech when he said that we have that fear, and once we come out of that fear, that is the only way to combat that particular fear. And it has happened with me also, because once I used to have a lot of stomachache when I was in school, and I used to make some time of excuses with my parents, with my teachers, and everybody, and then they used to think that I'm joking because I just wanted to leave the school and go, or else I did not want to attend the assembly or some other excuses, until when I came in class 10, when I came to class 12, and then I actually addressed the issue to them, and then they got to know that okay, I'm a serious student and it's not the excuse that I'm making. And they took me seriously. So it took me a lot of time. It took me, I think, around 5 to 6 years to address the problem that I was going through. And then finally I got the solution. I met people, my parents were supportive, and then I overcame my fear. So the only way to face your fear, or to overcome your fear, or to face your fear, is just to address it. So to say it in the public domain, to let it out, be it to your friend, be it to your relatives, be it to your parents, be it to your teachers. And I would suggest the best person whom you can say is any anonymous person. For example, table topic master over here, Komal, I can say you anything. If there's something that is bothering me, you would be the first person that I would say, because you are in front of me. So that is what I have learned from my experience as well as the speaker's experience. Over to the table topic master. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bushra. I'll be all ears to listen to your stories. Thank you for sharing your story. But unfortunately, you got the person from whom I'm referenced the topic incorrect. So you won't get a chance to nominate a person. Can anyone tell me who was the person from whom I took this particular phrase? The phrase was that the comeback is stronger than the setback. So Disha, you've got it right. So you'll get a chance to speak on the next topic. So kindly unmute yourself and place your take on the next topic. It was by Toastmaster Mridula.
Hi, Komal.
Hi, Odisha. Your topic is, you don't have to say who said it right now. You can say it after you're done speaking. Your topic is, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
There's light at the end of the tunnel. So the first time I heard this phrase was from one of the best books I've ever seen, I've ever read, Harry Potter, of course. And it was one of the most inspirational lines, and like one line that's very close to my heart. Like whenever you do not know what to do in life, and you read the book, you always get some inspiration. So yes. And as far as the line goes, I think it was by Toastmaster, I'm sorry, I forgot the name, but he's spoken about his sports experiences. So yeah, it is the third Toastmaster.
Thank you, guest Odisha, for trying to speak on the topic. Can we have a round of applause for guest Odisha? But again, unfortunately, we got the person who said this particular phrase today. Wrong. Can we have someone who can tell me who said this particular phrase today? Can we have some more guesses on the chat box, please? Don't fear, I'm going to anyway call you. So please go ahead and put your answers. Okay, I'm going to give a chance to Dr. Suryadeep Majumdar because he's also got it correctly. So, Dr. Suryadeep, your topic for the day is don't let the opinions of others drown your inner voice. Don't let the opinions of others drown your inner voice.
I remember this time 4 years ago, there was this freshers party going on in our college. The college batchmates always has this habit of throwing a prank on me. Completely vexed and scared, I just realized I had to run away from that auditorium. All of a sudden, a senior grabbed me by the collar and threw me on the stage and just told me, you got to perform. You got to do something to entertain us right in the middle of close to 300 to 400 people and staff. I walked out and everybody were laughing, mimicking, taunting, insulting. And I realized, I said to myself, I need to go through a genesis right now. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, connected my phone, walked down, connected my phone to the speakers, and plugged in the karaoke of Despacito. Even as I started singing, everybody started laughing. They were having a fun time, a gala, as you can say. But then I started singing, and then slowly the mouths began to shut. The audience started to sway with the music, and all of a sudden, the whole audience were dancing in the tunes of my voice. I felt grateful for the universe completely spoke through me and sang out the lines, the reverberations, the shrill cries of really being the best version of myself echoed that very morning. And I realized it was a breakthrough moment for me. And that was the first time when I said to myself, doesn't really matter what everybody says, listening to my soul, listening to my inner voice matters the most. Wouldn't you agree with me? Topic master, over to you.
Definitely, Dr. Suryadeep. I think we have a lot, all of us Toastmasters and guests have a lot to learn from you and your eloquent style. Thank you for participating. Would you be able to tell who said this particular, like who from whose speech did I take this message from?
Yeah, I think this was the second speaker. If
Perfect.
I'm
Perfect. That was Toastmaster Samriddhi. So you get a chance to nominate anybody in the audience who will go up next.
I'd like to nominate TMOD, sir.
Uh, Vishesh, Toastmaster Vishesh,
Yes.
you're up next. Be ready.
Absolutely.
I cannot give you one of your phrases, so I'm going to give you life is always about the little things. Life is always about the little things. Toastmaster Vishesh.
Often we go for the big target, the big goal, the big expectation that we have in life, leaving behind and not paying attention to the little important moments in the journey which help us build step by step to reach that big goal. Those little moments, those little things are so essential in our entire journey. It is unbelievable. Like, for example, when I was in school, I was a very timid, a very shy guy. I wouldn't speak out a lot. I kept to myself. I played my sports. I did my scouting. And I just kept to myself. I did not do a lot. And I thought that I am doing so much. People will recognize me. People will see me and they will nominate me. for something which is very essential called the prefectship. Well, that did not happen. I missed out the small thing called speaking out, showing off to everybody. And that small thing mattered so much because people were like, oh my god, who's the troop leader for scouting? We don't know. Who is Vishesh Mehra? What does he do? I did not speak out. I missed out on the small things, and it did not help me effectively build through my big goal. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, try and grab onto each and every small thing. Don't miss out, and I'm sure you will be successful. What do you say, table topic master?
I think that when we look back, it's the small things that matter. It's the little pleasures of life that ultimately make us happy. Thank you, Toastmaster Vishesh, for sharing your take on it. So I'll give you a chance to tell me who said this phrase in today's meeting, or from whom did I take this message from?
Was it Toastmaster Rahul?
No. So I'll get a chance to pick someone from the audience. Can anyone try? Who said this phrase, life is all about small things? Yes, Toastmaster Akash got it right, so he gets a chance to speak next. It was Toastmaster Samriddhi again. Toastmaster
Hello,
Akash, yeah, you.
am I audible? Okay. Good
Your,
evening.
yeah, good evening. Your topic for the day is consistent actions create consistent results. Consistent actions create consistent results.
Consistent actions create consistent results. Uh, when we take a task, when we take upon a task to improve upon oneself, so we realize that there are many things that we need to do in order to achieve the same. So we divide it into small parts and then look upon the task. But what it requires is that you need to constantly perform small actions in order to reflect upon your results. So from this, I would say that yes, these consistent actions do lead to consistent results. A biggest example of this would be during my joint engineering entrance preparations. I had a problem with actually not being able to give proper timing to different sections, due to which I used to miss out on the sectionals. So what I did was I took up a number of mock tests, analyzed it, and also had a word with other people. And as a result, what happened was that I was able to contemplate that where I'm getting it wrong and hence work upon it. And fortunately, I was able to succeed. And in my joint engineering entrance, I was able to perform well. And yes, I did get into NIT. So this is a story of actually my life. Over to the table topic master. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akash. I wish I was as consistent as you were and I would have cracked NIT, but I couldn't. Now I think Toastmaster of the day, do we have time for another or should I wrap it up? Okay. In the interest of time, I'll have to give back the stage to the Toastmaster of the day, but I'd like to leave you with a message that we have been criticizing ourselves for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what changes. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day. Thank you. I hope you had a good time.
Can we have a huge round of applause for the table topic masters to have such an innovative session for the day? Thank you so much, Komal. Well, moving on. As an ending note, I would like to tell you a story about myself. December of 2020 was like one of the worst months of my life. I lost a very dear friend. My grandfather was hospitalized for 2 weeks. He was kept in the ICU because of multiple brain strokes. And it was a very dark time, visiting the hospital, coming back, staying at home. I completely closed down. I completely shut down myself. For about 2 weeks, I had to prepare for an exam. I did not leave the room. I stayed in a room. I only came out like a cave stool for food. And that's that. I was down. I did not feel good about anything. I did not see any hope due to the bad period I had. But one day in the morning, I woke up and I said, this is not Vishesh. This is not what I am. This cannot continue. I have to come back. I have to work hard. I have to give my best. And I have to be the old, happy Vishesh. I haven't completed my comeback yet. I am still in the transition mode. I'm still working on myself each and every day. But one thing I can tell you guaranteed, I will make a comeback and I will come back stronger. As Rocky Balboa once said, life is about taking hits and keep moving forward. You have to keep taking hits and keep moving forward because that is life. So now calling upon for the main session of the day, the general evaluator, the distinguished Toastmaster Shaurya Roy, to give us our evaluation. Shaurya, the podium is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishesh. Let's have a huge round of applause for Toastmaster Vishesh for conducting this session in a wonderful manner. And now, let's kickstart the general evaluation session by inviting on stage the evaluator of the first speaker, Toastmaster Amrita Viz, to present her evaluation to all of us.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. So to begin with, I would like to say, Toastmaster Abhijit Nath, your speech was really incredible, awe-inspiring and motivating. Thank you so much for that lovely speech. To come to the specifics of what I really loved in your speech, I would say the first thing, how you started your speech. Normally, we begin the speech with a quote or a question. But you started with your speech on a suspense note, and we were completely thrilled and engrossed throughout your speech. You also ended your speech up to the point from where you started to bring back to a note and to take us through the entire journey. So that was also really amazing. The second thing I would really like to commend you for is the choice of words, the phrases that you use, the proverbs, like the way you describe that my mom is as brave as lioness, her throat was dry, and all these phrases that you use and the expressions, I would say, it made us visualize what is going on. So we kind of created that scene in our mind. So that was also really amazing. Also, hand gestures, I would say that it was properly visible and it was adequately used. And there was a message and call to action as well in your speech, which was really inspiring, like the way you said that you have to listen to your inner voice. Now, every speech has some room of improvement. So from my side, the suggestions that I have for you is, the first one, I would say that though your speech was really very strong, the personal story that you shared, there was a lack of emotion. There was voice modulation when you were describing about the conversation between two people, but there were so many strong lines in your speech which could have lifted your speech to another level. Like the way there was a line in your speech where you said that I don't want to take the pain. I don't want to continue this pain for the rest of my life. I want to get it over and overcome that right now. So something like that, your emotion with a combination of pause and pitch would have lifted up your speech to the next level. And also, one more suggestion from my side will be, the message was very, very brief. It came suddenly at the end when you said that you have to listen to your voice. So it was very brief. Since you had 1 more minute, you could have elaborated more on that. So overall, very inspiring speech, good, like amazing expression of words, hand gestures, message, all of this were commendable. What you really have to work upon is the emotions to make it more impactful, and the message should be really a powerful one. Thank you. All the best to you for your future speeches.
Thank you for that comprehensive evaluation. And adding on to that, Toastmaster Abhijit, the one thing which I liked the most about your speech was your dramatization. At first, in the very beginning of your speech, when you were speaking about a situation between your mom and you, when you were playing the character of your mom, you somehow looked up so that you could portray the character which was lying down, and then when you portrayed yourself, you would look down so that you would effectively portray that you were standing up. I love that part. It kind of went on to show exactly how much practice you had put behind this particular speech. But having said that, I thought that you could have used this particular technique at the very end of your speech as well, when you portrayed the character of that woman in a green skirt who is asking to you about whether you are brave or not. I felt that that was one particular area where you could have used this particular technique, which I felt was missing. And throughout that particular sequence, in the very end of your speech, you were staring straight at the camera. Instead, I thought that you could have added a bit more drama in that particular characterization, and then you could have looked straight at your camera to hit the last nail into the coffin. That could have, in a way, increased the impact of your message. That could have made sure that the audience retained your speech for a longer time span. I thought that was missing, but otherwise, it was a great story. And I thought that the way you portrayed your characters will take you to a long way as a public speaker as you give more and more speeches. And I can't wait for that to happen. Until then, let's have a round of applause for both the speaker and the evaluator. And next up, let's invite the evaluator of the second speaker, Toastmaster Rohit Reddy, who is evaluating Toastmaster Samriti Santoria.
Just a quick audio and video check. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. They say that the only person who should be responsible for your happiness should be yourself. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and Toastmaster Samriddhi in particular. First of all, I would like to appreciate you for giving this amazing speech, which enlightened, captivated, and also inspired us to be comfortable in our own skin. Now, the thing which I liked most about your speech is the way you started it by asking a question to the audience, like, do you seek validation? Now, when you deliver a story, it's really important to keep the audience engrossed to your speech. So that's really well done on your part that you started with asking questions. Now, the other thing which really stood out for me in your speech is the clarity and emotion with which you spoke. Often when we tell a story about ourselves or our own story, we get carried away by the emotions, so the speech doesn't come out that as expected, but you maintained that grace or the clarity and delivered it with absolutely in an absolute fantastic manner. So kudos to you on that. Now, the third thing which is commendable is the message or the call to action you attach, that is, be comfortable in your own skin. Often we see amazing stories, but we don't have a takeaway from it. So you did an amazing job that you had a message attached with your amazing story. So kudos to you on that. Now, Toastmaster Samriddhi, what could be done to this already amazing story so that it will remain with us forever? For that, I have the following recommendations for you. Now, the first recommendation I have for you is that when you deliver a story, it's very important to build suspense with the audience so that it doesn't become a bit predictable. So for example, what you could have done is that you could have added that first sequence when you met your cool group friends before. Like, imagine I met my cool group friends before and what I said to them was not a hello. So something like that, which could have added suspense to the story, could have really added to the speech. Now, the second recommendation I have for you is that since it's a storytelling speech, there were a lot of scope for characters and dialogues. You could have turned left and right and had it some conversation with your cool friends, like, you know what, I'll really like to hang out with you, or all some sorts of dialogues could have really added. Now, the last recommendation I have for you is the voice modulation. You could have been like, you know what, they came and supported me, I was so happy, but was that really what I wanted? Something like that with a help of voice modulation could have really took the speech to another level. So Toastmaster Samriddhi, to summarize, it was an amazing speech with engrossing question at the start and clarity and emotion, and of course the call to action and the message. A bit of work on the characterization, dialogues, voice modulation, and the suspense aspect of it would really take you a notch higher and class apart. And I would like to end by saying that two roads will always diverge in a wood, but what matters is to choose the one which will make all the difference. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you for the wonderful evaluation. You actually had all the points which I prepared in my diary for speaking. And I especially love the point which you made regarding the suspense part. I thought that the target speaker could have actually could have done a much better job regarding that. And I would actually like to expand that point a little bit more. So Toastmaster Samriddhi, today you had a story, and the story was indeed nice, and I enjoyed every bit of it. But having said that, I felt that some parts of the story could have been modified a little bit better. For example, when you speak about your parents kicking you out of their house so that you could, stay in a hostel, in that particular part, you could have built in the suspense a little bit more. For example, you could have said it in some way like, my parents gifted me with a wonderful gift which I did not see coming. And then you take a pause. You let that information sink in with your audience, and then you say, or that you reveal the information regarding the hostel. That way, chances are that either the audience is going to laugh out loud or they're going to be stunned. That kind of impact was missing because you did not have pauses in your speech. And I thought that you could have somehow practiced a little bit more regarding that particular key area. And also, I felt that today, throughout your story, you spoke in one note only. From the very beginning to the very end, your tone was similar. And I thought that at the end of your speech, when you were focusing on the message, your tone could have varied. So if you speak fast during your story, try to maintain a slow pace in your message and vice versa. I thought that you had the chance to work a little bit more regarding this key area with your mentor. But other than that, it was a very nice story, and I really love the way you involve the audience throughout the chat box, all the by the different activities which you had. This is not the first time in which I am evaluating you. Somehow your speeches always end up having nice stories, but the impact somehow is missing because of the different lack of pauses and the different humor points which somehow went missing due to the lack of pauses. So if you can just work with your mentor regarding that, I feel that you will in one day make a great humorous speaker as well as a great international speaker. All the best for that. And let's have a round of applause for both the speaker and the evaluator in the form of Samriti Santoria and Rohit Reddy. And with that, let's invite on stage the evaluator of the third speaker, Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh, who is evaluating Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari.
If people expect something out of you, they only do so because they truly believe that you have the potential to achieve them. Good evening, distinguished Toastmaster Shaurya Roy, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, and a special good evening to the man with the double E in the speech title. If I were to use two E's to describe your speech, it would be evocative and eloquent. Now, let me tell you three things that I really loved about your speech. The first, the use of a personal story. Now, personal stories always capture the hearts of the audience, and you did exactly that by telling us about your personal story of how you want to, or rather, how you aspire to become a speaker, an athlete, and whatnot. The second thing that I really loved about your speech was the relatability with the audience. Now, you had the use of generic examples. You told us about CCC, Calcutta Chamber of Commerce, and the atmosphere out there, and I, as an audience member, could relate with that. And you had several other generic examples from the Indian cricket team to food, and all this kept me glued to the screen. And the third thing that I really loved about your speech was in an 18 to 22-minute speech, it's very difficult to keep the eyeballs glued to the screen, but you did it perfectly well by actually completing a full circle. You started off by telling us about exceeding expectations, and you concluded your talk with exceeding expectations. So there was this complete cycle, and there was a good connect between the start and the end, making sure that we remember what you said at the initial end, at the initial start, and then at the end. Having said that, there are a couple of things that you could work upon to take your speech to the next level. The first, Toastmaster Rahul, would be the transition. You were using a wonderful repetition where you were telling us, I know I got to become a table topics champion. I know I got to become the world champion of public speaking. So we're using this wonderful repetition, I know, I know, I know, and it created a great impact. But then all of a sudden, you started telling us that you're a hearty eater. And then all of a sudden, you started telling us about the Indian cricket team. So probably a little bit of work on the transition would have actually allowed us as an audience to get that message and allowed us to soak in that message. The second thing that you could work upon was that you concluded your speech as 17 minutes and 32 seconds. You had 18 to 22 minutes for your speech. The call to action was very brief. So you just said you live every day and die once. So live each day to exceed expectations. So I felt that that was quite abrupt because you had a great speech. So a proper call to action, a detailed call to action would have done wonders to your speech. But having said that, it was a great personal story that you narrated that kept us glued to the screens. To summarize, you had a great personal story, great relatability with the audience, and great start and close. Just a couple of things, work on your transition and the call to action. And I'm sure, as you said, live each day to exceed expectations. Toastmaster Rahul, you are living each day to exceed expectations. All the best to you for the coming days. Back to you, General Evaluator of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gurpreet, for that evaluation. A great job done there. And adding on to that, first off, Toastmaster Rahul, congratulations on getting yet another step closer to your path completion. I have always found these 18 to 20 minute speeches more challenging than our regular 5 to 7 minute speeches. And so, kudos for attending such a project. I personally would have thought 10 times before attending such a project. So, kudos for that. Kudos for such an attempt. Kudos for having the energy to speak for 18 minutes straight. But having said that, if you want to retain the attention of your audience throughout these 18 minutes, you need to get personal. You need to speak about personal matters. And yes, you did speak about personal matters, but there were a few areas where you could have gotten more personal. For example, let's say the example of the Indian cricket team getting boarded for 36. Everyone knows what happened. Everyone knows what Michael once spoke. But what did you feel after seeing those comments? What were the things which went on in your mind? What did you make out of the Indian cricket team then? And then when the Indian cricket team made the comeback, what were the feelings then? What did you feel? Everyone knew what happened. Everyone has their own unique perceptions, and they can speak about those perceptions in their own speeches. But this is your speech, so why not speak about your own perception that was missing in your speech today? And that way, you could have, utilized the remaining 5 minutes which were there in your speech timings. And also, as Rosman Gurpreet mentioned, the call to action was very brief, and I thought that you could have expanded a little bit more. But other than that, a great job done in, again, speaking for 18 straight minutes, for having the energy to attempt such a project. And I think that the next time when you deliver this particular project in your next path, you're going to do a far, far better job. All the best for that. And let's have a round of applause for both Toastmaster Rahul and Toastmaster Gurpreet. And now I would like to move on to the all the evolutions of the table of speakers. But before that, do we have the time to have online evolutions of table of speakers? Because we can always do this offline. Anyone, any EC officer?
Toastmaster Shaurya, distinguished Toastmaster Shaurya, I would request you to take it offline. And if anybody,
Okay.
and I would request all the speakers, the guests, and the Toastmasters kindly reach out to distinguished Toastmaster Shaurya for that.
Okay. Time is of the essence, so I would just like to move on to the reports of my ancillary role players, starting off with the grammarian, Toastmaster Rushika Ghosh Muzumdar. Can we have a report, please?
Yes. So good evening again. So the word of the day was used a lot of times actually. It was used by distinguished Toastmaster Shaurya, Toastmaster Gurpreet, Toastmaster Diksha, Toastmaster Samriddhi, Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari, and guest Suryadeep. And all of them used it once, making it a total of 6 times. Moving on to the not so good uses of grammar. My nose broke down would have been my nose broke, because broke down means to get emotional and to sort of sob or cry. So it would have been my nose broke. Those nightmares would have been, no, those nightmare would have been those nightmares. It would have been plural. And college batchmates has would have been college batchmates have. Could have took this speech would have been could have taken this speech. And clenching was pronounced incorrectly. It was pronounced as clinching. So it would have, the right pronunciation is clenching. Moving on to the good usages of grammar. Sighed wearily, as brave as a lioness, bulldozed into, conquered my fear. They were battled, they were bruised, they were criticized, which is a good rhetoric. All years, vexed and scared, again, two synonyms used together perfectly, and reverberations. And with that, I end my report. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you for the detailed report. And let's now move on to the report of the R counter, played by Toastmaster Sunil Kriplani.
Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, here is my R counter. Speaker one.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Toastmaster Sunil. Could you please, there is some background noise. Could you please remove your earphone for a moment and then try to speak?
Yeah.
Much better, sir. Please, please. So you are not audible. If you can remove your earphone and then speak, that will be better, I believe.
No, you are not.
Distinguished Toastmaster Shaurya, can we please move on to the other role players? I'll just have a word with Toastmaster Sunil in the meantime.
Okay, in the meantime, let's just move on to the report of the other role players. So can we have the report of the timer played by Toastmaster Aman, please?
Good evening, everyone, once again. Everyone is qualified, and I'm sharing my screen so that everyone have a look how much time they have spoken. So, guest Udisha Madnani and Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari had a very close shave. Everyone is qualified. Let's just.
Thank you for that crisp report, and I would like to request you to share all the timings in the chat box in the meantime when we go ahead with the other reports. So moving on to the report of the wow counter played by Toastmaster Dikshak Bose.
Well, at the very beginning to my report, I would really like to say that this was really indeed a wow meeting entirely, where I could see a lot of vibrancy in terms of the life experiences shared. And to mention the three most top wow moments which I could figure out, I would mention first being, which I found from the speech of Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari, the particular dialogue from the web series Suits, which was said by the famous Harvey Specter that life is this and he likes this. Really, expectations from life, it's a big driving motivation for people. Secondly, I would mention about a particular line which was mentioned by Toastmaster Samriddhi Santoria in her speech, where she said that her parents decided to kick her out from her house. I mean, it was really a very nice usage of humor. Last but not the least, it was from that most powerful speech by Toastmaster Abhijit Nath, where she said that she could see that young lady saying that you are brave, you are strong. It's really a bold exclamation. So this is the end for my report. Back to you, Sir General Evaluator.
Thank you for that report. And last but not the least, let's have the report of the Parliamentarian played by Toastmaster Brinda Rathi.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. All the parliamentary norms were followed throughout the meeting. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Brinda. And now doubling back to the R counter, Toastmaster Sunil, are you ready with the report?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. Here is my counter report. Coming to the prepared speech section, Speaker 1, Toastmaster Abhijit, he was pretty flawless, except 3 repeats. Speaker 2, Toastmaster Samriddhi, many repeats, otherwise she was flawless. Speaker 3, Toastmaster Rahul, he used 2 so's and many repeats. Coming to table topics, Toastmaster Bushra Sabha, 3 hours, 1 I think thrice, 1 repeat. Table topic speaker 2, Toastmaster Odisha Madnani, many hours, 1 so, 2 like, and 2 repeats. Dr. Suryadeep, he was flawless except for 3 repeats. Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra, 1 well, 2 likes, otherwise he was flawless. Toastmaster Akash, 3 hours, 4 so's, 2 actually, and 1 repeat. Coming to evaluation section, Evaluator 1, Toastmaster Amrita, 1 and she used a crutch word kind of, 1 repeat, otherwise flawless. Evaluator 2, Toastmaster Rohit, 1 like and 1 repeat. Evaluator 3, Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh, he was flawless except for 2 repeats. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you for such a comprehensive report. And let's have a round of applause for all the ancillary role players who played their roles so flawlessly. And now moving on to the main role players, starting with the Southern Towns, Toastmaster Oshika. First off, sincere apologies for entering the meeting 2 minutes late. And at first, I was only logged in from my desktop, so I could not speak when I was asked upon to read the Toastmasters promise. Apologies for that as well. But having said that, I feel that the role play of the Silent House today, as done by you, was a flawless job. You had the presence of mind to make us all go through the Toastmasters promise in the first week of the month, as it's the practice of our club. And also, you had a story wherein you involved the audience. So, great job done there as well. And I look forward to see you grow through this particular role in the next 6 months. So, can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Roshik as the Sergeant Trumps? And next up was the president of the club, Toastmaster Midlo Sengupta. You also had a story which resonated with the theme, so a great job done on that. You introduced the guest as well. But having said that, one feedback which I would have for you is that the minutes of the meeting, of the last meeting, was nowhere. And I feel that somehow, somewhere you missed that regarding the passing of the minutes of the last meeting. And also, at one point, it felt like you were reading out the introduction of the TMOD. So, as a president, when you take the center stage in a Toastmasters meeting, you are always under scanner. Each and every one of your actions are under scrutiny. So, when you read out, it actually shows a lack of confidence. So, just work on that a little bit more from the next meetings onward. But otherwise, it was a good role play. And it can be grander, provided you don't read out and you don't forget the small things regarding the meeting of the last meeting. By the way, it was a great job. So can we have a round of applause for the president, Toastmaster Milosh Gupta? And the next person on the podium was our TMO, Toastmaster Vishesh. Vishesh, you were a table topic champion and you were a great informed speaker. But having said that, right now you're stuck in a comfort zone of yours wherein you always end up speaking about sports. And you are so confident while speaking about sports that you can actually wear a blue t-shirt and speak about Manchester United. But having said that, just try to speak about other topics. Speak about something other than sports. Try to break free of your comfort zone, because at this point, it's kind of like an expectancy that whenever Toastmaster is on stage, he is going to somehow speak about some sports or the other. Try to break free of this comfort zone. But if I'm not nipping like this, I would say that whatever content you had today regarding sports was awesome and it resonated well with the audience, both in your table topic and in your TMOD act. So can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Vishesh? And with that, I would now like to make the transition to table topics master. Toastmaster Komal, you are a seasoned Toastmaster right now, and the way you spoke about your personal story to emphasize the importance of this table topic session to the audience was, I felt awesome. And the way you had something to speak about, rating each and every speaker after they went off the podium was also pretty unique. But having said that, one feedback which I would have for you is to maintain consistency. If you want to have the audience pick the next speaker, try to find out one way in which you can always help the audience to pick the next speaker instead of somehow gaining the control to yourself and somehow gaining the control to the audience. That I felt was somehow confusing. But other than that, it was a pretty unique session, and I thought that the way you planned the topics was also very much innovative. So can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Komal in particular and in general for all the role players who took the center stage today? And with that, let's hand over the podium with a huge round of applause to the president, Toastmaster Milosh Gupta.
Thank you. Can we please keep the applause going for our distinguished general evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster, Shaurya Roy? Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Shaurya, for taking up this role after a long, long time and for filling us with in, a lot of comprehensive feedback as to how we can improve and how we can come back stronger. Thank you so much. Now, without any further delay, let me request the host, Toastmaster Oishika, to kindly share the voting link for the day.
Yes, Madam President, I've shared the voting link.
Thank you so much. So I would request the members and guests in the house to kindly vote for the speakers for today. And in the meantime, I would request the guests who would like to come up to kindly share their feedback. Anybody, if you would like to come up, kindly volunteer. Okay, so we have Meghna, we have Dr. Suryadeep, we have Abhishek, Amit. Any of you would like to come up for sharing your feedback about the session? Yes, Dr. Suryadeep, over to you.
Very good evening, Madam President. When I really got to know about Toastmasters for the very first time, I knew this is a place where I belong. But then having attended a few meetings as a guest, I was not really getting those vibes. Today, for the very first time, I see my cheeks burning. I'm getting sweat. I'm getting goosebumps and all these kind of feelings. And for the first time in my life, I am just overwhelmed because I feel like I am in a place where I truly belong. The speeches were magnificent. The structure of the meetings, phenomenal. The way the entire meeting was structured, I mean, after every prepared speech, I had tears in my eyes. I had to roll off the video just to bring myself together. So, I mean, I just can't, I just feel that I found my club and I am looking forward to being a Toastmaster in this distinguished club. Thank you so, so much for inviting me for this magical meeting. And yeah, I guess that's all over to you, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suryadeep, for sharing this feedback. And trust me, we are all very excited to join Kolkata Toastmasters Club session for this very moment of realization that yes, There is a lot to learn. There is a lot to learn from each other. There is a lot to share. And I would like to say that kudos to you for having the guts to raise your hand and volunteering for the table topic session. So great job on that. So with that, I would like to request, do we have Toastmaster Shaurya, distinguished Toastmaster Shaurya in the house? All right. Okay, so he has dropped off for some reason. All right, so anybody else, Toastmaster Busha, you have joined us. Would you like to share your feedback?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say that when I saw you, the president of the club, you were so cheerful, you were so full of energy, which is generally I find lacking in many clubs. But I actually like the vibe and the energy that was there at the start of the meeting. That stood the meeting exceptionally well compared to other meetings that I've attended. And what I liked about this meeting was the TMOD. He sounded so professional, and he sounded like he actually wanted the meeting to go good, and that is what was reflecting on his face. And it was not that just he was motivated. He was trying to motivate everybody to turn on the videos, to look at him, to feel with him, and to react as what the speakers were saying. And yes, also I also like the general evaluator, because he took the step very gradually, and then he was also very critical into analyzing everybody, yet he concluded everything in a very soothing manner, so that everybody feels good. And in fact, I learned a lot from him, and that is why I attend different club meetings, so that I get to learn from the president, from the general evaluator, from all the great speakers. Especially today, we had such great speakers. I mean, seriously. And I really look forward that when I go and give my speech in my club, I take all these merits from your club. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have a round of applause for Dr. Suryadev and Toastmaster Bushra? Thank you so much for sharing a wonderful, wonderful feedback. Now, without any further ado, I would like to request Toastmaster. Achha, so do we have future Toastmaster and future Toastmaster from today, Toastmaster Akash Patnaik with us? Could you please unmute yourself and switch on your video?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are perfectly audible. Now, I would request All right, hello. So I would request Toastmaster Rahul to kindly come forward and help us induct the newest member of our community, Toastmaster Akash. Over to you, Rahul. You are please unmute yourself.
All right. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mridula, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Well, truly, as you heard my speech, Toastmaster is just one place that can improve you leaps and bounds. It can give you all sort of confidence that you need as a person, as a communicator, everything. And honestly, it's one of the best feelings to be confident, to be much more confident than what you were. And I'm sure everyone agrees with this. So kudos to you for taking that first step from become a much more confident version of yourself. And I'm sure I've seen you a few times as a guest. You've taken up table topics, and you're already really good. But I'm sure the room for improvement in Toastmasters is never ending, and you're gonna get much better as a speaker, as a KTMer in times to come. So I formally induct you as a Toastmaster, as a KTMer. Congratulations and welcome to the KTM family, Toastmaster Akash Patnaik.
Thank you. My
Can we
pleasure.
have the?
Looking
Are we having
forward.
the certificate? Oh yeah. So we'll wait for the certificate screen to be shared. Toastmaster Gurpreet, is it being shared?
I forwarded it to the president of the club. I believe she's sharing it.
Okay, have you shared it right now?
Okay. Toastmaster
No,
Mridula,
Mridula. Sometime back.
you can. I mean, it,
All right, just a moment.
we could actually go on, but it's like a very important certificate from Toastmaster, a certificate of membership. So I think it's better that we show it right now to everyone and to all the guests who also are willing to join. That one day you will get that too.
Okay, so I would request Toastmaster Oishika to kindly grant host access or co-host access to Toastmaster Gurpreet so that he can share it. I may not have received it. Yeah.
I'm using my phone. I will not be able to share it. I'm resending it back to you. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay, this passing of the certificates going on like that game. We can also start a music thing going on, and Whenever you stop the music, whoever has the latest update, they can send it. Toastmaster Akash is like, I have waited so many times as a guest, now I have to wait for this as well.
It doesn't matter. I've also procrastinated for a long time, so I guess it's payback.
Payback karma. True.
Mridula, it has been WhatsApp to you recent. I have resent it.
When was the last time you waited so long for a certificate, Toastmaster Akash?
During my college, that was for about a year.
Oh, you waited a year for a certificate. I'm sure we are not going to do that bad.
I mean, that's okay. I mean,
No, it's just a confusion going on. I'm not.
actually, we had to get the director's stamp on it for it to be formally called a certificate. Otherwise, it's just a piece of paper.
Okay. Over here,
So
the
that
director's
took a long
stamp is the co-host granting access. Oh, so finally, Toastmaster Akash Patnaik, I formally welcome you as a part of KTM and becoming a Toastmaster.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. Looking forward to serve in my best capacity.
All the best.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rahul, and welcome to the club, Toastmaster Akash. Now I would request Toastmaster Vishesh. Are you here with us?
Sorry to interrupt, Toastmaster Mridula. Udisha is having some network issues and has dropped off from the meeting.
All right. Okay. Okay. So no worries. We will be welcoming her shortly in the next meeting. Okay. So now, without any further ado, let's come to the awards section. So any guesses for the best role player among timer, counter, grammarian, wow counter, and parliamentarian?
Grammarian.
All right.
Grammarian.
Let's see who has won it today. It is indeed the grammarian of the day, Toastmaster Oishika. Thank you for stepping up and always showing us how creative one can get in the virtual scenario. Congratulations
Thank
to you.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have the best role player among the Toastmaster of the day, the general evaluator, and the table topic master. Any guesses? It is a very tough call for all the members and the guests present here.
The table topic master.
The table topic master is one guess. What about the others? Any
General
other guesses?
evaluator.
All right, the general evaluator. Okay, so it is a very, very close call, but the best role player of the evening goes to none other than the one who always kept us motivated, the one who always told us that the comeback is always stronger than the setback. Goes to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vishesh. Can we have a round of applause for him, please? Next up, we have the best table topic speaker. Any guesses for who the best table topic speaker is? One guess from one hint from my end is he is a debutant in the table topic section.
Dr. Suryadeep.
That is absolutely correct, Toastmaster Gurpreet. Congratulations, Dr. Suryadeep, for winning the best table topic speaker award. Great job done. Hope to see you in the future meetings and participate in as many table topics as you can.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Means a lot. I mean, I'm just speechless.
Great job done. Now, coming to the best evaluator of the evening. Any guesses on that? It too was a very close call.
Toastmaster Gurpreet.
All right. So, yes, both of them are guessing for each other, and both of them have got the guesses right. It is indeed evaluator Toastmaster Gurpreet. Great job on that. And all the best for the area level, which is on the 14th of February. So, all the guests and Toastmasters who are interested to join, guests, you know who to contact. That is Toastmaster Gurpreet. All right. Now, coming to the most improved speaker for the evening. Any guesses? Okay, so let's not keep you any more suspense in this. The most improved speaker for the evening is our Toastmaster, who is a guest from Under Club, Toastmaster Samriddhi Santoria. Great job on that, Samriddhi. Can we have a round of applause for him, please? For her, please. And the best speaker. I don't think we need to guess on this. Indeed, all the speakers were amazing. We all learned a lot from everybody. But the best speaker for the evening is hands down Toastmaster Rahul Maheshwari. Thank you for inspiring us with your wonderful, wonderful speech and telling us to live each day to exceed expectations. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rahul. Great job on that. Can we have a round of applause? Can we unmute ourselves and applaud, please? Great job, all the role players, for putting up such a fantastic show and a fantastic session today. And now I would like to request everybody to kindly join us next week, same time, same place. And still now we are meeting on the Zoom link. And we also have guest Shayan. Do we have you with us? Could you please unmute yourself and share something?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is the first time I'm attending Toastmaster. I wanted to speak, and then you all went to a different topic, so I could not say. I was very interested. First time I was trying to contact you all, but somehow I'm not getting any number. Then I went to Park Street. I could see your address, and then I found that it is not functional, and then it is only happening in Zoom. So that is how I contacted you, and I had my job also. I wanted to join at 7 o'clock. I could not join. I was rushing, and then finally I joined at only at 7:30. But it's a overall great experience. I only heard about this. The concept, but I could experience today. I hope this will be a great game changing experience for me. So thank you so much. I think people are excellent, and I was really very very fascinated by how it conducted. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Shayan, for sharing your feedback. Now, I would like to declare the 661st session closed. Anybody who would like to stay back and for a round of chit chat can definitely do so. I would stop the recording right now. Yes.